Here we are again. I'm on Loch Erne, just outside Enniskillen. I've been told there's been a few tench caught in the last couple of days, so I thought I'd come here and try and catch a tench. Loch Erne has a sort of bittersweet memories for me. You know, there's times where I came here and caught absolutely fuck all, and there's other times where I've come here and I've caught quite a lot. You know, I think my best here was like 15 tench, and amongst roach and perch and stuff. This place, because it's so close to the town, it attracts the attention of the undesirables. You know, the sort that don't put the fish back. Although, thankfully, because more and more people fish this place, you know, that sort of shenanigans should be stopping. I'm using the old ground bait that I had already pre-mixed. I had stuff mixed from a session earlier on. I'm using it up along with some of the old maggots that I've had. Oh, here comes the rain. Along with some of the maggots and castor that's probably now at the end of their life. So they've all went into a bowl. I've whacked out 10, I think 10-ish big feeders at 40 metres, and now I'm fishing with just a normal 5 or little 4 ring or 4 space guru cage feeder. 5. That's a 30 gram one I'm throwing. So 40 grams, 40 metres, 30 gram feeder, 3 foot hook length, size 12 hook. And I'm not expecting to catch anything for the first maybe hour because of all the bait I put in. You know, if you see me with a feeder rod casting in bait up feeders, you know, that's the slow way of doing it. This is more an artillery barrage for, you know, 20 minutes and then let the fish come back onto it. But let's see how we go on today now, shall we? Let's pre-bait up the swim. Fishing 40 metres, fishing straight out in front of me. I'm going to feed 10 big massive feeders. So let's get it done. Let's get it done. I'm going to cast 10 of these in. This is a mixture of corn, castor and dead maggot. I'm on Loch Erne outside Enniskillen today. I'm hoping that the tench have woke up. So fancy getting after a tench. So I'm feeding with the Big Daddy feeder today. Today's ground bait mix is mainline non-fish meal ground bait. It comes in a 2 kilogram bag. I'll show you a photograph of the case now. I'm hoping that the keeping the feed kind of not smack in the same area and clipped up at 40 metres, so I'm wanting it in a bit of a line. That's feeder number 2, another 10, another 8 to go here. So I'm using my 12-foot Fox EOS spod rod. It's a 5-pound test curve spod rod. Spod reel is my 10,000 Ultegra, an old Shimano big pit reel. Spooled to 50-pound braid. You might also notice it's got the deeper flappy thing on it, so I might give that a throw around later as well, just to find out what's about. It's important when you're doing this to pick your point in the far bank, so when you are going to try and hit the same spot, a little bit flew out of it there. This ground bait has lots of crushed hemp in it, so it is lovely. This will kill the swim for a good hour until fish come back in. lost count. I think that's 6. Let's say that was number 6, shall we? Another 4 more to go. In fact, I'm only going to throw one more of these in. Let's stick with 8. Although fuck knows how many it is because I lost count halfway through. Now put the rest of that through a small feeder. Right, let's get the feeder rod on. I'll see you in a minute when I get the feeder rod all sorted out. The fish have started to come back onto the feed, onto where I've cast bait. Not the tench though. Teeny tiny roach this size. That's one in the last 2 I've had in the last 2 casts. So it's been, you know, I'm fishing with the tip, so that the tip is really just kinked a little tiny bit. And the bites literally they were more like a wobble. I thought it was wind. Now I'm giving the baits a bit longer of a soak. It's every 3 or 4 minutes I'm pulling them back in. You know, just to kind of get some. And I'm fishing with a window feeder, so I'm putting more loose feed in with the window feeder and pumping it out, so there's like a even more food for the fish to eat. I've had some visitors. Some sheep must have escaped from a field somewhere. They came to say hello. I had to kind of chase them. The last thing I need is fucking sheep on the jetty. Have you three escaped? Have you four escaped? No, don't come over to me. No, stay over there. Shoo. Go back to the field that you've escaped from. Shit. That's all I need. Wildlife on the main road behind me. Welcome to Enniskillen, folks. But at least it's not a blank. Still catching. I can see shoals, a little perch and little roach. Again, little tiny fish this sort of size. In at my feet. So if the feeder goes quiet, I might break out the whip and start to just see if I can practice my whip skills. I was going to go to the river today and I was going to show you how to fish with a slider float, but since the relaxation of the lockdowns for the unnamed pandemic from unspecified geological location in Enniskillen, they've started a couple of match festivals, so that's good. It means life's getting kind of back to normal. From looking at the reports, there was 27 kilos of fish caught off a peg in Cornagrade. There was 17 or 18 kilos of fish caught in Ely Lodge. Ely Lodge is the area where you want to be paying attention, because those fish are going to be coming up from the lower loch into the river system to go to a spawning bay. So if there's bream starting to show at Ely Lodge, then that means they're coming up. There was a survey done by the experts that run our system, and they professed that Loch Erne had a shortage of bream in it, and the bream were in thin numbers. Now, these geniuses' way of fixing this, they said they were going to think about moving bream from Loch Erne to the Erne system. But if you ask any boat angler that's got a fish finder, they'll be fit to tell you that there is bream in the system. One of my friends was on his boat in the winter trolling for pike, and he found a huge shoal of bream. He said it must have been like a 3/4 of an acre of bream, sat at 60 feet deep. The area where he was fishing was about 85 feet deep, and the bream were just sat at about 60 feet in a band. Now this is somewhere that's, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of yards from the nearest shoreline. My theory why the bream left the river Erne was the habitat wasn't favourable for them. If the habitat's good for them, they'll stay there. That's like anything. If you're happy, you'll stay there. But something must have happened for those fish to be made unhappy, so they left. Now, when I was a kid, I fished the competition circuit as a youngster, fishing for schools and stuff like that before I went off to join the Air Force. And I can remember sitting on the broad meadow in Enniskillen town with a 10-foot feeder rod, fishing at maybe about 4 rod lengths out into the main river. And you know, I can remember breaking the 100-pound barrier in a match, and I was very proud of myself for that. It was an occasion where I was very, very proud of myself. But if you go to fish those pegs now, you'll be lucky if you get 5 or 6 kilos. So, over the years, the river system has been made more clear. The zebra mussels have filtered the water a lot. Bream don't really like clear water. Now there is still bream on the River Erne in Enniskillen town. You know, anyone that fishes Enniskillen will be able to tell you that there's a couple of swims that there is a resident shoal of bream. Not a massive shoal, but there is a resident shoal where they hang around. Like at the under the bridges in the main street, above from the police station. There is a resident shoal of bream there. But fishing for them, it's a nightmare because it is a snaggy hole. You know, if you're going to fish there, stock up on swim feeders because it's going to cost you a lot of swim feeders. But so zebra mussels would have driven the fish away. They wouldn't have liked to have been there anymore. Made the water conditions poor for them. You could argue boat traffic. The powers that be, in their infinite wisdom, opened up one of the main spawning bays for the bream on the Erne, and they opened it up and put floating jetties for boats to come into it. And I can remember a couple of years ago fishing it, or going, not even fishing it, going down just to have a look, and there was like a slick film on the surface of, well, boat fuel, diesel fuel. And amongst the usual levels of trash that, you know, arseholes leave. That was one of the things we raised with the experts. How's about build some fish habitat that keeps them happy? Build some space where they can be happy. Now for the likes of that spawning bay, why not put a sign up beside a certain area of it and say no boats past this mark, past this point, sunken reef. You know, a few, maybe 10 or 15 old Christmas trees. From every town in Northern Ireland, they'll have a Christmas tree in a roundabout. So take them, weight them down and sink them. So you're forming habitat, you're forming somewhere where fish can spawn and fish can be happy. They can avoid predation. Now we raised all this with them. You know, you ask them, what are you doing about the cormorants? Oh, nothing. Right. What are you doing about the poaching? Oh, nothing. Right. What are you doing about commercial angling? Oh, nothing. Right. So they were doing nothing, and they're all out of ideas, all out of ideas for doing nothing. Which is nice, you know. It's nice to have the people in charge of our public fishing estate to be all out of ideas, sat on their ass doing nothing for the fishery. But they're happy to take your pennies. Don't forget to pay for your license. They'll do another one of these talks in the summer. It seems to be like the annual event of, they come down to Enniskillen and have a wee talk with us, all us anglers. Pay lip service to us. Nothing seems to change though. Still, welcome to Northern Ireland. There is now a grebe over where I've cast those big feeders, so there must be fish over where I was casting those feeders. There was a period where the wind died down and you can see little fizzes of bubbles. So there is something in there eating, besides the roach that's this size. It's just a little bit overcast. Every now and then we get a little shower of rain, and it's a nice bit of a breeze coming through. It's pretty good conditions. Pretty good. That was a decent bite. That was a better one, but I've missed it, bumped it off. That was a better bite. And I've just dipped this in at my feet, and this is the sort of roach that are coming out at my feet. In fact, I'm lying to you, it's not a roach, that's a rudd. That is a little baby rudd. But let's continue fishing, shall we? Get some. See if we can get a tench. That's today's mission. Catch a tench. Not fishing in deep water. Just nice and easy cast. 40 metres is a nice easy chuck. Lots of particles. Tench quite like their particles. So I'm just kind of having a nice, relaxing, easy day. No stress, we're fishing. Sadly, still no tench on our tench fishing day out. Just lots of little roach and rudd. And it doesn't seem to matter what size of bait I throw. I was even throwing whole worms, and the little tench didn't fancy it. The mini roach and rudd though did. Some of the roach and rudd that I'm catching, they're even too small for pike bait. That's how small they are. I suppose I could use them for perch. If I was fishing for live baits, but fishing for perch. The wind's kind of picked up a fair bit, so I've changed my rod rest. Where did I put it? This is the usual rod rest that I feeder fish with. Very smooth, unless you count this knobbly bit at the end. I don't know why Preston didn't make it so that this was kind of further up, and this end should have been like this. But anyway, this is what I normally feeder fish with. Nice and soft, doesn't damage the rod, good gear. But because the wind's kind of picking up and the rod was getting pushed off it, I swapped it out for a more grippier rod rest. One what holds the rod easier. Not that it's making a lot of difference, as it is still no tenching. No tenching. Well, I am getting bites, so it's good that I'm getting bites. Although I think the bites I'm getting are where do you see this thing if it stays on? That's the size of the fish I'm catching at the minute. It's okay. Catching fish is good. It would just be nice to get through the little fish and get on to the tench. Weather-wise, the rain has definitely arrived. The drizzle has arrived, so we are getting rain and drizzle. I was chucking out some more bait, trying to get more bait on the ground, so I'm putting out more particles of sweet corn. Trying to get the bigger fish interested, and I even tried corn and I was getting destroyed with little roach. Little roach or little rudd. Doesn't seem to matter if I put on whole grains of corn, doesn't seem to matter if I put on whole big worms, doesn't matter. Little roach. But at least we're catching fish, that's the main thing. I'm going to take 2 minutes now and ask for a favour of you all. If you're regular viewers, you'll remember that I have a guy that comes fishing with me called Cecil. Really good guy, salt of the earth, cracking human being. Well, Cecil's not doing too well at the minute. Cecil got diagnosed with cancer. We're at the stage now where he's fighting it. We're getting him pumped full of chemotherapy and radiotherapy or whatever therapy it is he's getting, but we're fighting it. It's at this stage where it's the beginning of a battle. So if you've got 5 minutes, if you're religious, say a prayer for him. If not, then send him some love in the comments, because he's got a long hard fight ahead of him. I don't know how long I'll stay out today. It's 4:30 at the minute. I'm almost at the end of my ground bait, so I could probably just use the rest of this ground bait and then take a slow pack up and a slow drive home. There's still loads of little roach swimming underneath my feet. You know, if I did put up the whip. I was going to use the a 7 metre whip put up. I was going to fish, you know, kind of just there's a couple of lilies that's just there, and every now and then I see like a whole shoal of wee roach splattering out. So there's something obviously in there trying to eat them. So I was going to try and... I've been feeding a couple of balls of ground bait down there every now and then. So I might try the whip just at the point of these lilies here. It's only about 5 feet deep, but I'm catching plenty on the feeder. You know, I'm getting plenty bites in the feeder. Unfortunately, it's just not no tench. I'll see you in a minute. If there's more nothing, I'll start again, shall I? I'll see you in a minute. Not a whole lot today. Lots of small fish. Nothing very big. In fact, I'll show you what I've had today. And put them back in. Not a whole lot, I'm afraid. Some rudd, some roach, that's about it. Roach, rudd, no tench. Bugger. We'll have to go to a different venue if we want tench. Let's go somewhere else, I think.